What's going on, guys? Jeff here from MadHattersReef.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new product from MaxSpect called the Aeraqua Duo. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day, and if you're new to what we're doing here, this is where I talk about everything reef tank related. So if you love reef tanks like I do, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Alright guys, so today, very excited for this product. I have been waiting and waiting for its release, and it is finally here. So, today I am taking a look at the new product from MaxSpect. It's called the Aeraqua Duo, and it's a protein skimmer that has a lot of interesting features built into it, stuff that you don't typically find in a protein skimmer. So that's enough out of this intro. Let's take a look at the Aeraqua Duo protein skimmer. The MaxSpect Aeraqua Duo comes packed very, very well. So if you are thinking that maybe that something possibly could go wrong during shipping with this product, there's enough padding in there and enough protective measures to make sure that this protein skimmer gets to you exactly the way that it should. As always, make sure you read your instructions manual prior to operation, because there's a lot of good information in there on the product, and it's also going to give you a leg up when it comes to setting up this product. One of the things that I'm most excited about with this protein skimmer is it is in fact controlled by a DC powered pump. So what that offers you is the ability to control this protein skimmer in a way that an AC powered protein skimmer cannot offer. And with being a DC controlled protein skimmer, it offers you the ability to set a schedule with this protein skimmer. It also has a feature that we're going to talk about in a little bit more detail, a float switch that will actually power this protein skimmer down if the collection cup fills up with skimmate. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you avoid a situation like this. Some of the other features of this protein skimmer is that it is pretty quiet and almost near silent. And in design feature, which when you're looking at this, it seems familiar but different. And the reason being is because it has almost a pipeless design. Has a very small footprint considering the size of this protein skimmer is 8.5 inches by 10 inches. You have a dial in the front which helps you control the water level in the protein skimmer. And unique to the Aeraqua Duo, it has a dual intake. Also, a dual needle wheel. So this is going to be producing some serious bubbles that is going to help produce some awesome skimmate. As far as some of the specs for this protein skimmer, it's going to use 40 watts of power. It is ideal for tanks that all the way up to
450 gallons and can be utilized in tanks that are 100 gallons. And that would be a tank that has some very high bio load, that has a ton of fish, ton of coral, and you're trying to keep it as clean as possible. The overall height on this protein skimmer is over 22 inches, so it's a fairly tall protein skimmer. And that is something that you're going to have to take into consideration if this is a protein skimmer that you're looking at for your system. Now, rounding the horses back to the float switch and the ability to shut this protein skimmer down. So this is a DC powered protein skimmer, so that gives you controllability over the pump. Now, adding a float switch to the controller, it has the ability to, once that collection cup fills up, it is going to shut off the pumps and it's going to stop working until somebody comes and takes care of the liquid in the collection cup. And as far as installing, like you saw just there, very, very easy to install. Something that I was very impressed with when I was taking a look and testing the float switch feature, how responsive it is, because you can see right there, I literally just push that float switch up and it shuts off immediately, and you can see in the background that the protein skimmer has in fact stopped. Now, once somebody takes care of the collection cup, that float switch drops and it has about a 10-second delay, and then the pumps are going to kick back on and the protein skimmer will be in operation just like it was prior to the collection cup filling up. This is an absolute amazing feature to have, and it can help avoid some serious problems, and I think that this is definitely going to set the Aeraqua Duo apart from the competition. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that this protein skimmer has a pipeless design. Now, this is a feature that is unique to the Aeraqua Duo, and how they achieved this is that they have a set of tubes, rubberized tubes, that runs up the back of the protein skimmer. These tubes run up to the collar where you can see those two little holes. That is the air intake, and that tube feeds to the DC controlled dual intake, dual needle wheel pumps that feed this protein skimmer. You have the ability to make it recirculate a little bit more, so if you want to have a lot more contact time with that water and the bubbles, you can, or you can just have it blast through it at full bore. You have the ability to dial this protein skimmer in. Not to mention that you have the water level adjustment knob on the front where you can set the water level inside the protein skimmer. There's so many different ways that you can control this protein skimmer, and it's really absolutely amazing. As far as from a maintenance standpoint, very easy to take apart. You have the body locks on the base. All you have to do is simply unscrew them. They slide out and the body of the protein skimmer will come off completely, allowing you to give that protein skimmer the deep clean that it needs ever so often. This protein skimmer really has it all. It's absolutely quiet. It has a pipeless design, very small footprint, has that precision front control so you can set your water level, dual intake, dual needle wheel, air and water recirculation feature, has overflow protection, DC flow control, has wireless capabilities, which we didn't even get into. You actually can control this protein skimmer from the Synergy app, available on most app stores, and has a feed mode and start delay. This thing packs a punch.
Alright, so we have the Aeraqua Duo installed into the water box, and I went through a couple of ideas when I was putting this video together. Originally, I wasn't going to put this protein skimmer in the water box because, in my opinion, it's probably too much protein skimmer for this tank. And even though some of the stuff that I read in the user's manual said that it is capable of being in a smaller tank, it just doesn't seem realistic to me to have this big of a protein skimmer in this small of a tank. But the system that I was going to install it in, the sump and the way in which it's designed doesn't really accommodate the size and shape of this protein skimmer. So from a video perspective, I went ahead and put it in the water box. And there was a few things that I was concerned about when I started realizing that from a filming standpoint that I needed to put it in the water box. And that was, how much more water am I going to have to add to the system to accommodate the water in which this protein skimmer is going to hold in its chamber. Because every protein skimmer that I've ever had, I've needed to add water. If the protein skimmer shuts off, it trips the auto, it makes the auto top off go nuts. It was kind of interesting what happened when I put this in the tank. So the water level did rise. I did have to shut off the auto top off at first. When I turned this on, this protein skimmer puts so much air into the chamber of the protein skimmer that the water level almost didn't even change, which kind of blew my mind. So this is a good, I'd say 10 inches from that water line right here to the neck of the protein skimmer. Most of what's happening in this section of the protein skimmer is air being dispersed into tiny micro bubbles and eventually making it bigger. And you can kind of see right here at the neck that the bubbles do get a little bit larger, but that's how I have the protein skimmer set up currently. It has a lot to do with this water level and the power in which I am pushing to the pumps. So with that, very impressed with how much air is in the system, because it's kind of mind-blowing. I really was expecting the water level to drop to a point where my return pump wasn't going to have any water in it at all, but it was actually quite the opposite. All I did was pull up the sensor eyes for the auto top off to accommodate this, and you can see this little plug right here. That's actually the water line that the manufacturer recommends that you have this protein skimmer at, and I'm exceeding it probably by about an inch, and it still seems to be operating pretty well. I do have the water height at the lowest possible setting. So right here it says max, but it's open all the way on the bottom chamber. If I was to go ahead and turn it down to minimum, that water level would rise, and then I'd start pushing a bunch of foam and even salt water into that collection cup.
So as far as the controllability of the DC pump, it's relatively simple. You have two different options, but the first thing you want to do is make sure that it's set up properly. So you go to your setup, and what you're going to do is basically set the time for the clock, and then you can set the delay, so when it turns on for the first time it has a delay, or if there's a point where the collection cup sensor shuts the pump down, then that also is the delay in which the time it would start back up. And you can set it from 10 seconds all the way up to 300 seconds, and that's about it as far as setup goes. With the options for controllability, so you have manual and you have auto. Manual is just straight time with the pump. As far as setting the power of the pump, all you do is hit the middle button on the ring, and there will be a yellow block that will build up around the number. As you can see right there, the number 7. And the display screen doesn't do this little weird black bar moving through it. It's solid. That's just something that the camera's picking up. But so when you hit the middle button of the ring, a number that you have there will have a yellow block around it, and then you have the ability to turn it up or turn it down. Relatively simple. And what this is going to do is it's going to increase the power going to the pumps. It's going to also increase the level of the foam. So this is something that you want to take a little bit of caution and utilize it in a way that isn't going to cause problems for your auto top off, your return pump, as well as your protein skimmer and the skim mate in which it's producing. And there's a lot of things to consider when you're looking for that sweet spot for your protein skimmer. You have the ability to adjust the water level. You have the ability to adjust how much water and air is recirculating in the skimmer itself by controlling the intake valves. You also have the controller itself. So all these things put together, you got to find that sweet spot in which way your protein skimmer is going to best perform and make the best quality skim mate, and removing that stuff from your aquarium. Your other option outside of manual is auto. Now, what auto affords you is the ability to control the pumps to the protein skimmer. The other option for controllability with the DC powered pumps on this skimmer is setting a schedule. Now, you have up to 10 points, and what that means is you have 10 different points throughout the day that you can change increase or decrease or even completely shut off the protein skimmer, depending on what you're trying to achieve with your system. For me personally, I think that the only thing that I would use in this feature is possibly a shutdown period or even like a low skimming period throughout the night, allowing the LPS corals to feed up. Maybe just after dark, because that's quite often the time in which I usually broadcast feed the tank, so that'd be a good time to shut down the skimmer. That's probably the only situation where I could see utilizing this feature, but I'm sure there's people out there that are way smarter than me that can figure something out with this.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for our look at the MaxSpect Aeraqua Duo. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you want to check out a little bit more information on this product, there's going to be a link down below which will bring you to MaxSpect, where you can do some more research and fill in all the holes that I may have not answered for you. So that's a wrap on this one. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be updated every time that I upload a new video. That's going to do it for today, but don't worry, because there's plenty more Mad Hatter Reef videos down below that you can check out. But until next time, happy reefing.